likes me. Nobody likes me. But that's okay, cause I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
We need to pay attention to all this stuff. And don't muddy the waters. Don't let your mind get sidetracked. Because you need to remember that when, it's going to be time to vote again soon. So it's going to be local elections, all this stuff, everything, all these elections. You have to remember that the Republicans would rather collude with Russians than collude with Americans.
Them Staten Island niggas still puffing them dust blunt.
Donald Trump is a white supremacist who enables white supremacists. No lie. I mean, that's accurate. It's an accurate assessment of the situation.
Them Staten Island niggas still puffing them dust blunt.
Dragnets. How do they work? Just say no. Yeah. Here's the problem with just saying no. You can go about your life trying not to do drugs, but you turn on the news and you see Wigmaster over there talking about public health emergencies. That's why drugs are hard to stop. Because of people like that. Big week. It's always a big week. Can't we please have an uneventful week? That's all I want. All I want is one.
Them Staten Island niggas still puffing them dust blunt.
Oh, Jay, why are you wearing that resist shirt? What are you resisting? Bunch of isms and trees. Bigotry, misogyny, racism, fascism, and sexism. The people here are the people on the South Shore, in the rich neighborhoods, the richer neighborhoods, not the poor neighborhoods, are brought up on bigotry, hatred, and classification of, societal roles. Hey, yo! What goes on, peeps? Back in, second edition. Who's in your house? Dyze in your house. That's who. I'm Jay Porks. This is The Bridge. This is where you get all of your midweek Jay Porks podcast related information. Because one podcast was not enough to contain everything that is going on with the fascist regime, with my cray-cray lifestyle, and just, with 2017 in general. So we had a huge week, humongous, ginormous, and we're going to try to tie it all together in under 20 minutes. Again, this is Dyze in your house. This is coming to you every Friday, 6 p.m. on YouTube. We're going to make it easy for people to listen. We're going to give you a place to tune in. We're going to try to keep it simple. Notes will be on jporks.com immediately. And we're just going to, because, again, like I said, we're trying this out in November because I don't work in November on Fridays. And over the weekend, there's too much to get to. There's too much. And I feel like I can't do it all justice. So midweeks, Friday, not midweeks, but Fridays, 6 p.m., YouTube. YouTube is a medium everyone uses. Don't need a podcast app for that. So come at me. Dyze in your house. Episode 2, November 10th. All right. We had a blue wave happen on Tuesday. I've been talking about local elections for a couple of weeks. I've been making sure that everybody knows that I'm in on the local elections, because if you're going to complain, if you're going to cry about how things are, it starts from the ground up. And you have to go vote for city council and mayor and governor and all that stuff. And you know what? For a party that's in turmoil, according to the news media, Democrats looked pretty good. Pretty good on Tuesday night. A lot of ironic races happened too. Let's talk about some of the ones that were funny. Like the first openly transgender person to run for office beat the person who wrote the discriminatory transgender bathroom bill. Fantastic. Fantastic. Also, there was, and I'm not sure what state it was, there was a council person or somebody who criticized the Women's March, said that, will the Women's March be over, by 6 o'clock in time for dinner or whatever, with a meme, shared a meme on his Facebook. So this woman argued with him about it, and he said, why don't you run for council? She did, and beat him. Funny. A lot of stuff going on. Virginia was also big. Virginia was a clean sweep of the Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Governor, all swung Democrat. And the biggest one for me personally, Murphy. Phil Murphy, Governor of New Jersey. We all know de Blasio was going to be the mayor of New York. We all knew that was going to happen. I'm actually a little upset that Nicole Malliotakis got that much of the vote. I actually think that she got a little too much. And if you looked at the maps, if you looked at the way the boroughs are, and if you looked at, the breakdown of voters and how every borough was blue except for Staten Island and it was all red. If it was broken down by voter, I would probably be a singular blue dot in a sea of red. That's what I would be. Another thing about Dyze in your house is that I'm not pausing this podcast. I don't pause on Fridays. So my cat was crying behind my door. So I just got up and I let him in. Because that's my cat. And yeah, he may have interrupted my flow of thought. But you know what? That's not going to stop us. This is not edited. So we got a blue tsunami on Tuesday. Now, a lot of people telling me that this doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that this is like we took back the House of Representatives or something. I understand that Democrats did not take over, did not gain any actual power in Congress yesterday. But it's the start of something. It's the start of something big. And all you people that criticized the way the DNC is working, I don't know if it's actually you, but all of the people that say that, the Democrats should get away from people like Tom Perez. I think Tom Perez hooked y'all up Tuesday night. I feel like it was a long night. I feel like it was one long night I've been up. Walked around school with my I voted sticker, just pissing off all the people who voted for Malliotakis and Bo Dietl. It's insane. It's insane how mad they were at me. Why would you do that, Jason? How can you vote for de Blasio, Jason? How can anybody who works in education vote for Bill de Blasio? Well, I don't work in education. I work in Catholic school. There's a difference between learning and working in a Catholic school. And I just want to separate the two and make sure you know that the two things are unrelated. They're totally unrelated. As my cat stalks around my room, the things I think about are the way women get stalked around the workplace. That's right. It's not just Hollywood. And listen, and I have to get into this. I can't not talk about this. How many guys are rapists and child molesters and just inappropriate behavior? Whether you're Hollywood, whether you're a politician, Roy Moore got. This guy when he was a 32-year-old prosecutor, he brought allegedly brought a 14-year-old girl to his house and started making out with her, okay? Republicans come out and say things like, if true, dude, how many times does this have to happen before we start saying to ourselves, you know what, maybe we should listen to the women. Maybe the women are telling the truth. Because you know what? Not maybe, most certainly. Because if in the history of life, if you look at men and men being in charge, it has all ended with this, where we are now, with Trumpism, with Nazis walking in the streets, with women getting their health rights taken away, healthcare taken away, right to, women's rights being imputed by men, old white men. Old white men rule the world, and they control people, and they have power. Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, freaking Louis C.K. I'm not going to get into it here. I might get into it over the weekend on the Jay Porks podcast, but you have to check out the piece in the New York Times on Louis C.K. Now listen, I laughed at the guy's jokes too, but when you have to read this article, just shows that the sickening behavior that exists throughout the course of not Hollywood, not older people in general, but just the male-dominated world. A world where men are in power. This is the stuff that happens. Whether it's Louis C.K., playing with himself in front of random girls or on the phone. Whether it's, Harvey Weinstein, 30, 40, 50 women. They're all coming out, whether it's Bill Cosby. Remember Bill Cosby? Remember that? What happened to him? Whether it's Twiggy Ramirez, Rose McGowan or whatever. It's all intertwined. Roy Moore. Let me just quickly back on Roy Moore. There was somebody from Breitbart actually saying that, because the girl was 14 and 14-year-olds don't actually make the best decisions anyway, trying to say that it really wasn't illegal. And then when they were like, well, there was a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old mentioned in the article also, the guy from Breitbart says, well, the 16 and 17-year-old are of legal age. How does that make it okay? Listen, there is no greater joy. As a man, there is no greater joy than earning the opportunity to get to be with a girl you find attractive. You know what I'm saying? In a way, away from other people. If you get what I'm saying, There's no greater joy. But I personally, and I don't know what goes on in the minds of these people. They're sick, and that's why they need to be removed from power. I don't know what goes on in the minds of people where we want to force people to do things. Like, when we force... Like, if I was forcing somebody to do something, I would not be able to enjoy that, personally, to me. I feel like it would hinder... It would hinder me, I mean, that's just me. But if you earn it, if you have a girlfriend, and you do the right thing, and you, make her happy to the point where she wants to, make you happy, that's awesome, That's, the greatest joy in the world. But to take this from women, to take it, just I control you. I'm going to take this. It's disgusting. And you wonder where the culture starts. And you wonder how all these things could happen. Well, you know what? Look who lives in the White House. On tape, bragging about sexual assault 2 weeks before the election. And you voted for him. That shows how messed up America is as a nation. That 35% or whatever, that 32%, those people think that sexual assault is okay. And I can't live in a world where people think sexual assault is okay. And it's happening in the workplace too. It's not only in Hollywood, it's happening in restaurants. I've worked in restaurants where girls, they go to the kitchen and they get felt up by people who work in the kitchen. I've worked at restaurants where the new waiter is trained, where not the new waiter, because I'm the waiter, but like, the manager or whatever, the manager of the pizzeria who's like, 25 or whatever, is like, hey, I'll show you where we stock all the stuff downstairs, and taking the new, 17-year-old bus girl downstairs, and it's taken a half hour for them to, learn about where the wine room is. I've seen this happen. This has happened before. Workplaces. Even where I work now, working in a school. If a new teacher starts, they're all like, oh, how old is she? They start talking to you about, like, people encourage sexual assault. Like, in the workplace, when a new person starts, they immediately, like, if a new girl starts, they immediately go to the single guy that's closest to them, and they say, oh, have you met this one? What's up with that? Like, what? Why is everything one big sex party? Like, I don't understand that. Again, I got my own relationship going on. Me and Amanda, we got a wonderful thing going on, man. You know what I do? I do things that make her happy, and in return, I get loving and snugs, and it's good. And like, it's just disgusting that every day I turn on the news. And you know what? People can say, oh, well, you know what? That happened, but I still think they're funny. Like, I can't watch Louis C.K. I can't watch his show Louis anymore. And first of all, is his publicist really named Louis K? Really? Middle name Calvin or something? What? Is it the same person? Is he faking quotes? I'm telling you, you have to read that New York Times article. And let's make a Roy Moore prediction. Roy Moore, that special election is in a month in Alabama for Jeff Sessions' seat. Now, people might say, oh, why doesn't Luther Strange just take it? Because Luther Strange is the guy that was running against him in the primary. I'll tell you why. Funny story. There's a law in Alabama that says you can't run for office twice in the same year. You're not allowed to do that. You know who wrote that law? You know who signed that law into effect? Luther Strange. How great is that? Irony drips and drips and drips. But Roy Moore's not dropping out. Roy Moore is fundraising on this. He's saying that this is a Democrat conspiracy to, to unseat, the Senate of Republicans or whatever. The deep state plot. He's fundraising off it. He's not only not going to drop out of this race, he's going to win. So think about, this is the world we're in right now. In Alabama, the guy running for senator, who, when he was a prosecutor at the age of 32, took a 14-year-old girl to his house twice. One time they made out, another time there was fondling. 14-year-old girl to his house, allegedly. And he's not only not going to be ruined, he's going to be senator. And he's going to have the power to vote on things, to vote on laws in Congress. He's going to Washington. Mr. Rapist goes to Washington. It's true. It's damn true. And it all comes from the top. You people think it's not a big deal that grabbing them by the pee was a thing. And now we see the ramifications of it all over the world. And you know what? I am so happy that we have women in the world that are brave enough to come out and share these stories of horror. And you know what? It's not only women, it's also, young boys too. I mean, there's a lot of pedophilia going on too. There's pedophilia going on. There's raping going on. There's a whole bunch of sexual assault going on in the underbelly of society. And people are enabling it. People are ignoring it. People are turning a blind eye to it. And it's disgusting. And it needs to be stopped. It's not something that can continue. And this is why we need women in power. Because women ain't gonna play that. And because we've never had women in charge before. Because we don't let women, even though women get more votes in the election, even though the women get the more votes, they're not allowed to be the president. Okay. So you can have Mr. Rapey president, fine. That's fine. Destroy the fabric of our nation. Because Tuesday was a sign. Tuesday was a referendum on Trump. And all those people that keep telling me that the Democrats need a platform that's not, never Trump. Tuesday shows that actually, we might not. Never Trump is a platform. Here's our platform. As a Democrat, here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna force women into sexual acts that they don't, We're not even gonna make the suggestion. We're gonna earn ourselves the gift of those sexual acts by doing the right thing and making women happy. Now, every woman is different, so obviously, you're gonna need to figure out, what to do to make your girl, your wife, you gotta figure out what makes them tick. The girl you're courting, the girl you're texting, and again, speaking of this, and again, the nudes. What's with the nudes? Like, I frequent this website, What Culture, now Cultaholic.com, and this guy, Adam Blampier, this guy was like he was like a huge YouTube guy he was a huge presenter on YouTube, like, not PewDiePie, and not like, the needle drop guy, but like, he was on his way to be that, and there was some scandal where he was texting 19-year-old girls for nudes, and like, they were in other countries, so like, what's with wanting the nudes of girls you're not gonna ever, you know what I'm saying, fornicate with? Like, I can understand if if your girlfriend's away or something, and you're texting each other, and you're like, hey, check it out, I'm in the shower, like, even that's, your phone can get hacked and stuff could happen, but why? What desire do I have to want nude pictures of any girl that I'm not gonna have sexual relations with? I mean, there's websites for that. There's websites for that. And in closing, I think people's sexual deviances need to stick to fictional videos on the internet and fictional figments in their mind. And if people feel the need to assault women and to force themselves upon women, then these people need to seek help. They need to be put in rehabilitation. They need to be put in places away from society to stop terrorizing women. Because women have never, been the tyrannical leaders of slavery or, like, oppression or anything. It's never been that. J. Porks. Dyze in your house.